As we get older, life often stops feeling exciting. The thrill of summer days, the rush of seeing a new movie in theaters, or trying a game that just dropped. Somehow, it all starts to feel empty. But it doesn't have to be that way. From early on, we're drilled with the idea that winging it is reckless. We're expected to plan everything, stay disciplined, follow the rules, and chase long term goals relentlessly. The message has always been clear. If you want success, you have to push the world aside and force it to bend to your will. I mean, that is the blueprint of millionaires. And let's face it, most of us wouldn't mind being one. We've all seen the stories of people who come from nothing and now wield incredible influence. And how did they get there? By shaping a reality where failure wasn't even an option, relying entirely on determination. And naturally, the thinking goes, if they can do it, why can't I do the same? It sounds appealing in theory, but the truth is, it's not. In fact, this mindset might be exactly what's draining the joy and wonder from your everyday life. It's what keeps you anxious about the future, obsessed with progress, and constantly stressed, leaving almost no room for genuine happiness. Sure, in a world where everything from parking spots to drinking water comes with a price tag, planning is necessary. But it doesn't mean that your entire life has to be mapped out like some complicated blueprint, with every decision calculated to solve all of your problems. If you're anything like me, you probably struggle with letting things happen naturally. You might need to loosen up and wing it a little bit more than you currently do. Ironically, learning to do this can be exactly what's been holding you back from the life that you've always wanted. As we get older, finish school, and step into adulthood, the freedom to just go with the flow tends to just disappear. Life becomes a very tightly scheduled, carefully managed routine. Weeknights after about 8 o'clock really aren't open to any spontaneous plans because you have work or maybe school the next morning. Even something as simple as playing video games now requires coordination with friends who have their own schedules. And money obligations like rent, tuition, and car payments make impulsive choices and spontaneous nights out even harder to justify. On top of that, career or academic responsibilities come with meetings, deadlines, structured tasks, and leave you very little room to improvise during the day. And of course, family and social commitments always demand planning as well. All of these obligations start to take over every corner of your life, leaving almost no room for experimentation, or what I call fun. Life stops feeling like your own, and suddenly you're just trapped in this cycle of exhaustion, dissatisfaction, and stress. And how does society tell you to fix it? Well, it's pretty simple. Work harder, push more, and keep hustling nonstop. You can't waste a minute. Why aren't you grinding on your side hustle after work? After all the billionaires work every single day, 24 hours a day. So obviously, you should do the same if you want to escape your mediocre life. It's all on you. Improve yourself, work harder, and maybe you'll stumble upon whatever you've been missing. That's the exact message that is pushed by so many people who claim to be self-help creators on YouTube, yelling motivational slogans from the balconies of their luxury penthouses and apartments. The whole system is built to convince you that you're the cause of all of your own struggles, and that if you just tried a little harder, everything would magically fall into place. Yet what they rarely acknowledge is that their success often came from a very unique circumstance. Pure effort alone isn't a cure-all, and sometimes the act of winging it actually helps you discover who you are and what you genuinely want out of life. I've never been the best at going with the flow, and it seems the older I get, the less inclined I am to say yes to spontaneous plans. I need to know exactly what we're doing before I even leave the house. And on paper, this sounds responsible to some people. But really all I'm doing is killing the fun aspect of what used to exist with me and my friends. The night where we all just piled in a car and said, "Where are we going?" turned out to be some of the best memories I've made with my friends in my early years. And this kind of made me start to think more about the subconscious choice I was constantly making to keep myself isolated from things that involved winging it. But imagine pulling back for a moment and caring less about how everything turned out. Imagine giving yourself the permission to be spontaneous, especially with small things that don't really carry that much weight. Life starts to feel lighter almost immediately. Accepting a last-minute lunch invite or a last-minute invite to your friend's house on a night that you usually don't go out. Giving something unfamiliar a shot, even if it makes you uneasy, is what matters. Eating a dish that just looks questionable, but you want to know what it tastes like. Talking to somebody you'd usually ignore or just pass by. These small, unplanned moments are what brings color back to your everyday life. They're what remind us that we're actually human. We weren't meant to exist on autopilot, mechanically checking off tasks every single day. Life is supposed to involve curiosity, growth, and seeing the world from new perspectives to make sense of it all. As kids, we did this effortlessly during endless summer days, but as adults, we rarely give ourselves the space to do it anymore. Take a game like Minecraft or GTA, for example. The joy those games brought me as a kid will forever be in my heart as I get older. The feeling I'd get when I'd hear that Minecraft music play on the main menu, or waiting for that 25-minute long GTA loading screen to finally end. It wasn't necessarily the game that brought me joy. It was the way I experienced the game that made the difference. I didn't care about making crazy XP farms in Minecraft or grinding out GTA heists to make the most amount of money possible. I'd build a house out of dirt or steal a random car off the street and drive around like a maniac. I wasn't focused on the most optimal way to play. I was naturally winging it in-game and doing whatever I felt in that moment. That's where I believe that nostalgia feeling comes from. Not the game itself, but the period in time in our lives where we played the game. Life was so much simpler, and you were able to be carefree all the time, which translated to the game. And childhood worked the same way. Summer days were spent waking up and saying, what should I do today? Maybe it meant riding a bike over to a friend's house to go swimming, or maybe it meant taking the jet ski ride out to our favorite patch of land in the middle of the bay, or booting up Black Ops to have a 1v1 quickscope match. There was no checklist or no plan. You just followed whatever you felt like doing in that moment. And that's why summers back then carry that warm, vivid feeling, because they were filled with curiosity, discovery, and seeing the world from angles that we didn't experience yet. Now that we're adults, we look back on those days with nostalgia and accept that they're gone. Between jobs, rent, and all the other not-so-fun responsibilities that come with growing up, it feels like there's no space left for things like that anymore. But my question is, who decided that having more responsibility means you have to stop exploring, stop learning, and stop letting life unfold naturally? So yeah, being responsible matters. You can't build a stable life on chaos alone. But since when did responsibility become a synonym for boredom? Why should structure mean shutting down the door on curiosity? Nothing is actually stopping you from taking a random trip to a place that you've never been before. Nothing says that you can't go and try something new on your own, or go kick a ball around just because you feel like it. Having commitment doesn't strip away your ability to enjoy life. It just means you have to make a conscious choice to do it now. One of the biggest advantages of adulthood is that you get to choose what you do with your time. It's easy to lose sight of that, but if you wanted to, you could start learning something new right now. You could sign up for a sports league, you could start a new journey at the gym, or walk into a nearby mall and meet people you've never spoken to before. You could try building a game, or mess around with a new hobby that's always been on your mind, or do something purely because it sounds fun. None of these ideas are locked behind permission or age limits. And none of them become less meaningful just because you get older. The only way they feel like that is if you convince yourself that they are. My point with this story is that your entire life doesn't need to revolve around productivity. It doesn't need to revolve around income or turning yourself into a better performing version of who you are. Letting yourself be spontaneous in small, harmless ways is a reminder that you still have freedom. Something adulthood has a way of stealing from you. Even with responsibilities pulling you in every direction, those moments of choice prove that you're not just along for the ride. You're still the one in the driver's seat. Letting yourself move without a plan occasionally changes how much of the world you actually notice. It puts you in situations you never would have chosen deliberately and introduces you to people, ideas, and moments that teach you more about yourself than any perfectly planned decision ever will. The moments I look back on now with my friends are the moments we all collectively hang out with no plan of what to do. It led to all sorts of different ideas, anything from ding-dong ditching random people to doing a lot dumber things like playing mailbox baseball. Although I look back on some of this stuff and realize it probably wasn't the best idea, but it's part of my childhood and growing up. And those nights were where some of the best memories actually came from. Even something as simple as just chatting with the person next to you in line can spark ideas and perspectives you would never encounter if you stayed in your bubble with earbuds on and only focused on work. This principle applies to nearly every aspect of your life. If your days feel dull, if the sense of wonder and excitement from childhood just seems completely gone, loosen the grip on your routines, question your habits, and step outside your rigid patterns a little bit. And suddenly, the world will start to feel bigger, richer, and more alive again. If you do that, you might one day look back on your 20s with the same warmth and happiness you reserved for your childhood. And in a small but meaningful way, that mindset makes the world better. Not just for you, but for people around you too. So are you somebody who struggles with winging it? Have you had moments where letting go led to something unexpected or meaningful? Share your thoughts in the comments. Because one conversation can spark another, and you never know when a single comment might lead to a connection that changes both lives, or even turns into a new friendship. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.